So I'm Nick Cook from Mawson Resources. I'm the president, who essentially leads the technical part of the business. So I look after the management of all parts of the geological processes. Mawson Resources is a Toronto-listed business. We've got our head office in Vancouver, but our main project is the Rajapalot Gold Cobalt project in northern Lapland. We're on the Arctic Circle, about halfway between the city of Rovaniemi and the Swedish border. It's a combination of forest and swamp and lakes, and it varies from some older growth forest to felled forestry land that has been worked on for the last 100 years in the forestry process. So it's an exciting project in that Paleoproterozoic gold is probably underrated in the world. There are some significant projects around the world, such as Kali in the Northern Territory or Homestake in South Dakota, and they're about 1.8 billion years old. To the north of us is the Agnico Eagle deposit, that's about 1.8 billion. And if you look on a global scale, after the Archean gold at about 2.65 billion years, then 1.8 billion is the next big gold producing event, and we're excited that our project has the gold at that age. The Rajapalot project has gold sticking out of the ground over 10 by 10 kilometres, and that's really exciting and very unusual. The Rajapalot part of the project, which is the gold and cobalt part, is around 3 by 4 kilometres. There's hardly any outcrop and it's covered by thin cover of till. But within that, it is surprising how many prospects actually have reasonable gold grades. At the moment, we're working on 3 of them in some detail. That's Raya, Palocus and South Palocus. And those are the projects or the prospects around which we will create the maiden resource. All of these systems are complex. There's lots of metamorphism, lots of deformation. But what we are finding now is that there's quite good continuity in the gold and cobalt, and they tend to be concentrated in linear chutes or small planar features. But the linear chutes we can see now extending for over 450 metres down plunge, and that's fairly encouraging. The mineralisation's hosted in 2 major rock types. There are iron sulfidic potassic rocks, which are basically schists that are deformed, and the mineralisation sits in the hinge regions of the folds in that. And then there's another type of rocks which are iron and magnesium rich sulfidic rocks, and they also contain significant amounts of gold and cobalt. So the project at the moment is at an early stage of exploration. It's becoming more advanced, so we're about to produce our first resource. So we have people working on that at the moment. But we do know that a lot of the gold is free gold, typically 20 microns or greater in grain size. So the initial studies revealed that gravity separation with cyanidation would gain up to 95% recoveries, so they were good. And we've just commenced a liberation study at the moment to look at the liberation of the gold and cobalt minerals. The cobalt is spatially related to the gold. It may actually be older. It adds great continuity to the system. So what we do actually see is when you combine the gold and cobalt, you start to see more continuity of grade and the tonnage appears to improve. So that's very encouraging. Well, one of the things about the cobalt world is that people would like to see ethically sourced cobalt and actually know where the cobalt comes from. And a lot of the cobalt at the moment actually comes through China, originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And so there are some questions about how and where that cobalt has actually been mined. The Finnish government are excited by the options that we have out there. Previously you would say that we were just a gold company and maybe a gold company with employment, but adding to the metal base, especially when it's an EU critical metal, the Finnish government is providing a lot more support, both at the political and the technical level for the project. We have a large biological contingent working for us in the summer. We have an environmental manager who has a lot of experience in the business, and she's responsible for our management of the environment. We, for example, collect all our drill cuttings. We only drill in winter in some of the areas so that there's no impact with the ground. There are 3 hydro power stations on the Kemi River, which are all within a couple of 100 kilometres. So a lot of the Finnish power source is low carbon. It's either hydroelectric or even nuclear. Our goals for the near future are to finish a geophysical program at the moment that is looking at the extensions to the Raya prospect, and we will start drilling again in January next year, and we'll be drilling between 15 to 20 kilometres, and that should add to the resource that we will publish in December or early January.